and welcome to the Landlord Tenant Show and other stuff with Miss Rindy and Miss Keita. How are you guys doing today? So, we're going to be talking about budgeting when you want to rent. Because apparently, I think some people have misunderstood what it is to rent. Now, I understand how some of the, rent's gone up and some of you guys are like really struggling to pay because you probably been at this particular place for a minute. I know people whose taxes don't went up like I know $200-300, like $600, some like 1,000, depending on what county you're staying in. Because some of these counties be off the chain, and depending on what city you stay in. So I get it, and so now you got to reevaluate what you're spending your money on, and or take on a gig or take on all these little extra jobs, and you trying to figure out like, wait a minute, I thought this job that I had was sufficient. And it's like you always got to have a plan B with your plan A, but you don't even want the B. Who wants to work like nonstop every day? Unless you got a goal, which is understandable. I can see working a bunch of extra hours, but a lot of times you want your main gig to be your only gig. And I ain't mad at that. I really ain't. And I ain't mad at it because why? Because, again, who wants to be working nonstop as if they don't have a life or nothing else to do but sit around and work and work and work? So, anyway, me and Miss Randy were talking about the whole budgeting thing, and she was showing me pictures. I don't know if she's gonna pull them up and show you, but these people are not being kicked out. They just leave all kind of stuff. I was telling her a story about a girl got kicked out or whatever, had to move and was leaving furniture. And I guess in my mind, I'm like, well, how folks be leaving furniture? I don't understand. Randy?
Well, everybody know it's the get rich overnight time, taxes.
Oh.
Tax season, everybody feel like, well, not everybody, but tax season is when the poor
She said the poor.
feel rich.
Did the poor feel rich?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
They got all them tax credits and stuff.
That's
You
if
get
they got a good
somebody,
tax prepare.
you get some people that, hey, once a year, they get $4,000 or $5,000 or more.
How many kids is that?
I don't know.
How many dependents?
But that's when a lot of people either lie to their landlord and be like, oh, I'm going to pay you, I'm going to pay you up when I get my taxes. And then they...
Yeah.
Oh, and did you know, now a lot of the judges are trying to make landlords not put the tenant name on the eviction?
So how are they supposed to know who it belongs to?
All occupants.
What?
Yes. 36 District Court, y'all out of control. Yeah.
I don't have no
So
responses for that.
what they doing is they're making landlords take the tenant name off of the eviction notice and just put to all occupants, because they don't want the tenant to have issues renting again.
But my thing is this.
If you leave on Lakita $9,000 in rent, I think I should know that before I allow you to play me and leave me with $9,000
in back pay.
I should know that you're a repeat offender, a professional tenant.
Yeah.
So a lot of landlords, I need y'all to pay attention. Folks got some money, and it's so sad that a lot of landlords look at, oh, she got a good paying job, she a nurse, she this, she that. That don't mean she gonna pay you.
Right.
That does not mean she's going to pay her rent. And it does not mean she's going to pay it on time. I'm dealing with a subject now that think just because you paid a late fee, it's okay.
She called it a subject.
Yeah.
Not the tenant.
Yeah.
Not the renter.
Yeah.
The subject.
The subject that thinks, hey, I pay y'all though, right?
But late.
Like Santa Claus on the 25th. So you want these landlords to be like, ooh, I hope she paid this month. Ooh, I hope she paid before the 10th.
When it's due, what, by the 5th, right?
Due by the 1st. And it's late by the 5th. Some landlords is late by the 3rd. You know?
Yeah, it depends.
And you think because, I paid the late fee, that still doesn't make a person happy with you.
No. That's why you should buy a house.
The late fee is supposed to make you not want to pay it.
Yeah. That's why you should buy a house. You have at least until the 15th to pay your mortgage.
They paying later than that though.
I know. Here they go. Can you put that at the end? Can you?
Y'all calling the landlords like they mortgage company. Can you put this in the rearage? In the rearage? Can you put my rent in the rearage? No. Pay or leave. Have some dignity. Leave.
Dignity.
Yeah. I had a tenant.
Not a subject.
Look at her lease and say, "Oh, this is only a 6-month lease." Yes. Why not a year? I said, "Babe, this is to protect you, okay? And to protect the company. Because at any event, you can't pay. You're not stuck owing us for a year. A year's worth of rent.
That part.
That you're not even living in. You know, like a car note. They repoed it, but you still owe.
Do you pay? You're supposed to.
Well, you stuck paying. Right.
I done moved. Oh, should I pay? You supposed to.
I can't. I gotta pay my other landlord.
That's why they be going to court all the time. Look, I want my money that's in arrearage. Putting them landlords all up in a flux because, they got bills to pay just like everybody else. They could be paying the mortgage on their house or apartment building.
Listen.
I'm just saying.
Word from a wise person. Okay? If you cannot afford to be a landlord, do not do it. Because this business will whoop on you like your mama did. Okay?
Okay.
It will. It will have you wrapped up in your feelings. It will have you ready to go gangster on somebody, knowing you have to be professional. It will take every professional bone out of your body and set it to the side.
Because you want to snatch an esophagus.
Because you want to snatch a knot. And because you know that whole customers are always right.
Which is big. I hate that statement.
Listen here.
I hate that statement.
If you've never been in a customer service situation as a landlord, you're going to learn.
Oh, wow.
You're going to learn. It's a great business. And the thing of it is, you need to take the same energy when everybody paying their rent and, things are good. And there's no complaints. Have that same energy when they not paying them bills, and they calling for complaints. I tell all landlords, put up a fund.
Set aside.
Yeah. That first month's rent, you should really bank it.
Don't spend it.
Don't take your family out celebrating. Oh, we got rent, yay. No.
The toilet is messed up. There's a flood. And, oh my gosh, I believe
The
something happened with the
basement,
plumbing.
something backing up in the
The
basement.
sump pump is not
$250.
working.
Not only is it $250, that water don't knocked out the hot water tank.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we need a hot water tank. We can't take showers or baths.
It's the winter time.
Oh my
It knocked out
gosh.
the furnace too.
Ooh, gosh, the pipes are frozen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that part.
because I'm gonna tell you something. Because of those repairs need to be done, that tenant may withhold their rent. You still gotta make sure your house good.
It's no joke out here.
It hurt. Yeah, it hurt. It hurt because this person in your house won't pay you, and you gotta foot the bill. When actually the house supposed to pay for itself.
Wow.
Because when it start getting to the point where you paying for it,
You gotta figure out a new investment. Or find something else to do. Or give it to a property manager. Hey.
listen here, property managers, we are here to tell you things that
You probably didn't consider.
you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear it. We have to make the tough decisions for you. Now, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people be like, oh, I'm going to give me a property manager. Listen here. Me and Lakita talked about it before. Don't get a property manager if you going to still be taking phone calls. Okay?
Yeah, it defeats the purpose.
If you going to still be reaching out to the tenant,
It defeats the purpose.
taking phone calls, oh, well, sure, no problem, Ms. Johnson. You can pay your rent on the 19th. Now we don't send her a eviction notice and you like, oh, take it back. Listen, this is not that. Take care of your own property. You don't need a property manager.
No, not
Because as a property manager, it's just like people gonna respect DTE.
I need my lights.
But Mr. Charles, they gonna play on him. So Mr. Charles, you don't care? No, ma'am, I don't.
Mm-mm.
Mr. Charles not gonna say that. He gonna say, oh yeah, I care about you and your kids. Property manager is gonna say, ma'am, that's your job. It's your job to make sure your children have a place to stay.
Yeah.
It's not my job. I don't have children with you. I have to do that for my own children.
Wow.
But you got to budget. Back to budgeting. Stop getting into these places and you know you don't
Can't
want
afford
you
it.
can't afford it.
Can't afford
And most of the times it's not listen, most of the times it's not even that they can't afford it. They don't want to.
That part. So, with that stated, I pulled up a little something to kind of go over.
This is my article, babe.
Yeah, always. Some type of resource or reference to what we're talking about. Don't choke now. Don't choke. If you're going to choke on something else.
Nah.
Anyway, woo.
What's your article
So
say?
anyway, it said here's some things to consider. Now, everybody should know when you're renting, it should be about 30% of your monthly income. So, for instance, if you make $5,000 a month, $1,500 is 30%. If you're making $2,000, $600 is your, if you're making $3,000, $900. So that's 30% of $3,000. If you don't know how I came up with that number, I need you to go to khanacademy.com and learn some math. There is a calculator.
Well,
and I'm trying to be funny though, but
here's
for real.
the thing. Most landlords ask that you make at least 3 times the rent.
There you go.
If your rent is $1,000, you need to bring in at least $2,000 a month. $3,000 a month. I was about to say you got $2,000 to do everything else with. Yeah. But that rent need to be paid first.
30%.
But most people pay DTE first.
I need my lights.
Because they'll be like, well, I had to pay this high DTE bill.
Mm-hmm. So, that's what comes next. Utilities. Utilities are important to consider because you need to pay for them every month in addition to rent. Now, some landlords do include water, heat, depending on where you stay. Most of the time, they usually water is already included in the rent for most people, for most landlords that you're renting from. But depending on the spacing, it's going to depend on your gas, your electric. If you got 1,200 square feet, there's no telling how much it takes to heat that place. And I would advise you that you can call ahead of time to find out what kind of what would be like considered the average amount for that particular place that you're renting. And usually the landlords or the property managers, they normally have that type of information. At least in my experience, they've had that information. Remember, you got to have that security deposit, which usually is up to 3 months worth of rent. If you got a pet, there's usually additional deposits. Then you got to consider food. If you're by yourself, then you know how much you eat. Some folk are just gluttonous. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna tell you a story. So, like my daughter, for instance, she doesn't mind going out to eat. But she'll have stuff that she done bought from the store and it sits there. Excuse me, when you gonna eat that? Oh, leftovers from the restaurant. Excuse me, when you gonna eat that? So I'm always throwing it out. Because my thing is, after a few days, it's like,
you shouldn't eat that.
Yeah, your stomach gonna be like, Matter of fact, it probably look, ugh. But, those are the type of things you gotta think about. But it's wasteful, is my point, though. It's wasteful to buy stuff and not eat it, and not try to avoid
eat air.
Yeah. There is a person called a breathologist who lives only on air. Better swallow good, get that oxygen. Then you also got to have an emergency fund. Now, emergency funds, usually people take about 10% of their income and place it in an emergency fund. And that's outside of whatever. Yeah, I know 10% is tithing, but also 10% for your, for emergency fund as well. If you, tithe at church or whatnot.
Or like, for instance, the hot water tank and furnace go out.
Right.
In the middle of the night, on a weekend.
And nobody's working.
It's nothing your landlord can do about it. Okay? You should have some money set aside to go to a room.
That part.
Don't get mad at the landlord like, so who gonna compensate me for this?
Captain Saberho. Ooh, I said that out loud.
You.
I'm sorry.
A lot of like for instance with us, we tell people not to put valuables in the basement. Now, everybody know, what was it, a couple years ago?
Yeah,
everybody, that flooding. Get you some renter's insurance.
For sure.
That's on all our lease.
Yeah.
Don't call us about something happened to your stuff, ma'am. Call your insurance company. That's why you pay them. You pay us for the house. And see, we'll tell people. Now, mind you, we always make the basements livable.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, we're renting to women and children. Most of the time, children play in the basement. Most of the time, women wash clothes in the basement. They don't want to feel scary. I show women basements and they be like, oh, I don't have to go down there. I don't even do basements.
I love basements.
But you should.
Yeah.
Because somebody could be living down there, and
Or
you
something.
something, someone, and you wouldn't even know it. Like I had no idea this nigga was in my. I mean, I had no idea this person was in my basement. Ma'am, that man been in your basement since you've been in your basement.
We done had a couple of slips.
It's okay. It's America.
Hey, you know.
Hey. Sorry, YouTube.
As much stuff as I hear, we all right.
Don't get me out of this. But then they move people in the basement.
Yeah.
Now it's backing up. You mad? Why? Now you gotta tell the truth. My kids is living in the basement. Why? Shouldn't be nothing down there. Definitely shouldn't be throwing your clothes down there on the floor.
No.
It should be in some baskets or something.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
But the water can go around the plastic.
Nope. Not from what we see.
Okay. Let me get
mildewy. Who gonna clean this up? Ma'am, that's your boo-boo. You and the kids. We not cleaning that up. Landlords, get it cleaned up. Because they gonna leave it down there.
Exactly.
And you're gonna have to clean it up anyway. And it's gonna be worse. But some of y'all should really consider buying a home.
Telling you, the 15th, boy, they give you to the 15th, pay that mortgage. And see, the thing about it is, if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, it's going to fall within them 2 weeks for you to pay that mortgage. So, you please consider. I know the mortgage rates have been crazy. They've been coming down, maybe not enough, but consider it.
But look here, the people income.
Yeah.
That income not right.
Are you lying?
You know what a lot of people do? Let's say it's almost like using a cosigner, but it's not. It's like I'm about to move into this apartment. They say I need 3 times the rent. It's $1,000 a month. I only bring in like $22 a month. So I'm gonna say Lakita moving with me. So between me and Lakita, we got like $6,000. You know what I'm saying? Lakita really not moving with me. Now I get behind on my rent because I really couldn't afford it to begin with. You know what I mean? If I'm only getting 22, by the time I get a landlord $1,000, DTE however much they gonna charge me.
Car note if possible.
Car note, insurance. I'm hungry.
I know the top ramen ain't gonna make it.
I'm at somebody's house with it. Like, what y'all cook?
But see, here's the thing: if you do that, then the other person that's on the lease is gonna be charged too in the case.
Yeah.
So that means my name be mud because why? She done put my name on the lease where I'm not even living. How foul is that? And it's quite a few of y'all. You already putting your kids' names in the DTE bills and phone bills and whatnots, and it's like, why are you ruining people's credit? I don't get that. You that selfish? Get yourself together. And it's too much information out there. I know half of y'all don't want to read. Hell, I don't want to read sometimes, but I got to in order to get ahead and find out exactly what I need to know. Because if I depend on somebody else, they could be giving me misinformation. Trust me, it's too easy to do credit repair. It's too easy to get your points up. Matter of fact, there's YouTube videos that'll help you if you don't want to read anything, because they'll tell you. And some are, a lot of those people out there are pretty, they're valid in their information. I implore you to go ahead and kind of look up some people and try to get some information to get those scores up. I mean, I don't get why you sit up there and use your children's social security numbers and stuff like that for things that you should be doing on your own. And then by the time they become an adult, they're not even able to do it. Now, there's one way for those who have great credit, or at least, you're doing well with building your credit. There's a way with your kid, your child can always, you could build their credit as well. You can make them an authorized user on a credit card. And when you do that and you make your monthly payments, it builds their credit. So by the time they become of age, they're able to go out into the world and not be scammed by the college, vendors who sit there and they seek out, young people to ruin their credit. But when they do get credit, they're able to buy a car. I know somebody who was only 19, 20 buying a doggone Alfa Romeo because of credit. And they was on their parents as an authorized user. So if they're able to do that, trust and know there's a way to help your child instead of making it worse for them credit wise. Because obviously, if this country is based on credit, which I always feel like is another means of whatever, a systemic racism type thing. But if they're able to do that, then you're able to help your child, help your children. Come on now, don't ruin them before they're grown. That's foul too. But I'm gonna leave that alone. It's too much out here for you to not get the information. We're in the age of Aquarius. The information that's out here, been out here before the age of Aquarius. I need you to read or watch YouTube. Well, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We are, you can call us again and offer any type of suggestions because we're always trying to figure out other stuff. I want us to kind of add people on. I'm gonna see if we can start getting some guests on.
We're gonna start getting tenants and landlords.
Yeah. So call us
if you would like to be one of our guests,
please.
Whether you're a tenant or landlord, we would love to have you.
Text us at 947-234-4633. That's 947-234-4633. We appreciate you all. And, we need some guests. Who up for the challenge?
Next week, we'll have a guest.
You going to have a guest? You just putting it out there. That's what I call manifesting.
Next week, we'll have a guest. I don't know if it's going to be a landlord or a tenant.
But we're going to have somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys have a great week. Bye. I'm going to get my life together with this thing. Oh, it's on your side.